Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Shri Radhe, Jayo Panchatattva, 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 Jayo Panchatattva. Nrisimhadev, 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 Jaya Jaya Nrisimhadev. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvya Jagacharya Shotara Shota Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvya Jagacharya Shotara Shota Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Brihad Medanga Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. Gaura Premanande. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter number 9, verses 41 and 42. I guess 42 is on display. Māyāṁ vividiṣan viṣṇor māyeśasya mahā-muniḥ mahā-bhāgavato rājan pitaraṁ paryatoṣayat māyām vividiṣan viṣṇor māyām vividiṣan viṣṇor māyeśasya mahā-muniḥ māyeśasya mahā-muniḥ mahā-bhāgavato rājan mahā-bhāgavato rājan pitaraṁ praryatoṣayat pitaraṁ praryatoṣayat māyām vividiṣan viṣṇor māyeśasya mahā-muniḥ mahā-bhāgavato rājan pitaraṁ paryatoṣayat. Prabhus. Mahā-bhāgavato rājan pitaraṁ paryatoṣayat vividiṣan viṣṇor māyeśasya mahā-muniḥ mahā-bhāgavato rājan pitaraṁ paryatoṣayat. Matajis. Vividiṣan viṣṇor māyām energies, vividiṣan desiring to know, viṣṇor of the Personality of Godhead, māyā-īśasya of the Master of all energies, mahā-muniḥ the great sage, mahā-bhāgavato the first class devotee of the Lord, rājan O King, pitaraṁ purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Lord Brahmā, being the creator of all living beings in the universe, is originally the father of several well-known sons, like Daksha, the Chatursanas, and Nārada, in three departments of human knowledge disseminated by the Vedas, namely fruitive work, transcendental knowledge, and devotional service. Devashi Nārada inherited from his father Brahma devotional service, whereas Daksha inherited from his father fruitive work, and Shanaka, Sanatan, etc. inherited from their father information about Jnana-kanda, or transcendental knowledge. But out of them all, Nārada is described here as the most beloved son of Brahma because of good behavior, obedience, mean kindness, and readiness to render service unto the Father. And Nārada is famous as the greatest of all sages because of his being the greatest of all devotees. Nārada is the spiritual master of many famous devotees of the Lord. He is the spiritual master of Prahlad, Dhruva, and Vyasa, down to the forest animal hunter Kirata. His only business is to turn everyone to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Therefore, all these features of Nārada makes him the dearmost son of his father, and all this is due to Nārada's being the first-class devotee of the Lord. The devotees are always anxious to know more and more about the Supreme Lord, the master of all energies, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10.9, Machita Madgata Prana, Bhojanatak Parasparan, Kata Jantas Chamam Nityam, Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. The Supreme Lord is unlimited, and his energies are also unlimited. No one can know them completely. Brahmaji, being the greatest living entity within this universe, and being directly instructed by the Lord, must know more than anyone within the universe, although such knowledge may not be complete. Thus is the duty of everyone to ask about the unlimited Lord from the spiritual master in the disciple succession of Brahma, which descends from Nārada to Vyasa, from Vyasa to Shukadev, and so on. And translation one more time. I will just read translation of verse 41 as well, and then 42. Nārada, the most dear of inheritors, son of Brahma, always ready to serve his father, strictly follows the instruction of his father by his mannerly behavior, meekness, and sense control. Nārada very much pleased his father and desired to know all about the energies of Viṣṇor, the master of all energies, for Nārada was the greatest of all sages and greatest of all devotees, O king. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaputale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurava Vachanine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasidhupyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So it's very interesting moment in Srimad Bhagavatam. There is explanation that Lord Brahma met Krishna himself, the Lord Vishnu, and his concept immediately changed, improved, and he started creating the world again. And the most Brahma has many sons, of course, as we know, but the most prominent son, the most prominent figure between his sons was Nārada Muni. And I would like to highlight a little bit about Nārada Muni and Nārada Muni's life and some previous lives, and also so we can go to understand it better, because in the future verses Nārada Muni is not mentioned so much, so it's a good moment to talk a little bit more about him. Also, we will touch a little bit another topic which is concern of modern society. Everybody's talking about freedom. Freedom this, freedom that, freedom of media, freedom of so many different things. Some societies are based on so-called freedom. But we will try to go a little bit deeper into what does it mean, freedom? What is really freedom? And what is actually freedom and how to achieve it, the true freedom in material world. So I'll start with one very interesting story. Yamuna Mataji, she told this story, and the story happened in 1969 in London. And basically, the Srila Prabhupada was leading the first kirtan, and then he gave a class. And after the class, Yamuna Mataji, she was sitting on the floor right next to Srila Prabhupada. And after the class, he asked her, and she began to lead the second Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the second Kirtan. And it was very, very ecstatic. And in one moment, all of a sudden, Srila Prabhupada's voice started to choke a little bit. And he started basically roaring, she said that with the potency of Lord Nrsimhadev. He started roaring and singing, Nārada Muni Bhaja Vinaradika Ramananamine. And everybody was watching, confused what's going on. And Srila Prabhupada continued. He repeated again, Nārada Muni Bhajayamina Radhika Namina Namne. And Mataji Yamuna was not sure what's happening. Nobody was sure, and Srila Prabhupada was watching in one direction. And basically, they didn't ask anything. Kirtan continued. Everybody was jumping. Yamuna Mataji said even there was a small baby named Saraswati. She was just 2 months old at that time. She started even jumping 2 feet above the ground. And Srila Prabhupada in one moment closed his eyes, and Kirtan was going on and on and on. And after everything was finished, after everything got sweat, after 2-3 hours of ecstatic Kirtan, she was saying, Srila Prabhupada is just amazing, it's unbelievable energy. And Prabhupada was just smiling. And then next morning, before breakfast, Srila Prabhupada approached Yamuna Mataji and he asked her, did you saw him? And she was, saw whom? He was like, Nārada Muni. He was there with us. Did you saw Nārada Muni? She said, no, Srila Prabhupada, I didn't saw Nārada Muni. Oh, he was there. He was there with us. And she said she will never forget the last words of Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Nārada Muni came. And this was not only one time happened when Srila Prabhupada was present, that he acknowledged even publicly that Nārada Muni is there. Another time, Dina Dayatri Mataji, for those who know Mataji Dina Dayatri, she was saying that in Los Angeles during one kirtan, also it was very, very ecstatic kirtan. Usually it's ecstatic kirtan. That's why we need to have ecstatic kirtans if we want to have some special souls to come to share, divine time with us. During ecstatic kirtan in Los Angeles, Srila Prabhupada was laughing, and afterwards, after the kirtan, devotees they asked Srila Prabhupada, why you were laughing all the time? He was saying, wait, I was laughing because Nārada Muni was there, and he was laughing. And they're asking, Nārada Muni was there? He said, yeah, he was there. And he was laughing? He said, yes, he was laughing. And they're asking, Srila Prabhupada, can you please explain to us why he was laughing? He said, it's very simple. He see a bunch of mlechas and yavanas doing Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and Kirtan. It was very funny for him. So he was laughing. Therefore, I was laughing also. So it was that occasion. And then the third occasion, when Srila Prabhupada acknowledged that he saw Nārada Muni, it was again in London, but much later, a couple of years later than the first one, right? There was a Buri place. Now, those who are from London, maybe they know about Buri place, but this is where they had a kirtan. They had one program one night, and they put a small altar. There was asana and a small altar in the corner, and Srila Prabhupada during the kirtan, he was pointing out in one corner of the room and tell everybody to basically not to pay obeisances, but to pay attention that somebody is there. And he told them during the kirtan, because it was going on like several singers was singing the kirtan, he was telling, can you please put one asana there in the corner? And they're asking, why Srila Prabhupada? He said, because Nārada Muni is coming, he wants to join us, he wants to be with us. And they placed asana in the kirtan, in the corner of that room, and Srila Prabhupada was smiling all the time and exchanging, and everybody was confused. And the reason why nobody saw Nārada Muni, we will discuss about that, which level we need to achieve to be able to get that perception. But it was amazing that we had somebody, our founder Acharya was somebody who could communicate literally in exchange with Nārada Muni. That was the three occasions. If somebody knows more, he can share with us, but This is what I can find, 3 occasions when Srila Prabhupada mentioned directly Narada Muni, that he was present. The reason why I'm telling this story is that we have to understand that in so many occasions we are talking about some past times and past figures who are maybe in some other form at the moment. But Narada Muni is one of those figures, one of the first original guru, who is still in the same form, very same form. With his will, even we can see him sometime. With his will, he can even be present, even today, 2023. Some, happenings, occasions, whatever. He's still amongst us. So he's still in the same, last body, last incarnation that he got, and we will go through which kind of body he has and why he has all these amazing abilities that he has. Now, first of all, Narada Muni is one of the most prominent sages that we have in the history of in Vedic literature, and his job is basically he's traveling through the universe, awakening love of the Lord. And he is one of the 12 Mahajans, right? And we know that Mahajans are great authorities of eternal truth, so he's one of the 12. And details about his life we can find in three different Vedic literature. Basically, we have Narada Purana, we have a Padma Purana, and we have Srimad Bhagavatam. So those three are actually telling up stories about Narada Muni's pastimes, leelas, lives, previous lives, and explanation of his abilities. In Bhagavad Gita 10:26, even Lord Krishna mentioned of all sages amongst the demigods, I am Nārada, right? Ashvatak sarva vikshanam devashinam cha Nārada gandharvanam chitratah sivano kapila muni. Of all trees, I am the banyan tree, and the sages amongst the demigods, I am Nārada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitraratha, and among perfect beings, I am the sage Kapila. So, as a prominent representative of God, Narada Muni, he's very often considered as original spiritual master. Basically, Srila Prabhupada stated in the commentary to the Srimad Bhagavatam on 6.5.22, yes, 6.5.22, that the immediate spiritual master is the representative of Narada Muni himself. There is no difference between the instructions of Narada Muni and those of the present spiritual master. That means our spiritual master is actually original representative of Narada Muni, and his words and instructions are not different than words and instructions of Narada Muni himself. And Prabhupada further refers to Narada as the father of devotional service. This is 6.16.26. He mentioned actually Narada Muni as the father of devotional service. Now, how ISKCON devotees know Narada Muni? Well, ISKCON devotees mostly know Narada Muni as the eternal spiritual spaceman, if we can call him a spaceman. Somebody who is traveling from planet to planet in material universe, higher planets, lower planets. He's even allowed to enter the spiritual sky, right? So basically, he can travel everywhere and anywhere. He has his beautiful instrument, Vina, and he's spreading the glories of the Lord, and he's spreading the holy name of the Lord through all these universes. So this is how we know Narada Muni. And there is the reason for everything why Narada Muni is a brahmachari. There is a reason, actually there is explanation, Narada Muni is the best example of brahmachari ever. And one of the secrets why is hiding in his previous life, and I will talk about that a little bit. So also the reason why he's having vina all the time, why not guitar or violin or flute, there is the reason for that also, and even it's mentioned who is that vina with him, and so there are a couple of stories that we're going to share today to understand better the glories of Narada Muni. First of all, Narada is also famous as instigator in Lord's pastimes. Sometimes when there is need to change something, to push something, to do something, Narada is there just to make a little bit of fine-tuning in the lila, and then things go in the right direction, right? Sometimes it doesn't look that he's doing the right thing, but he's always doing the right thing. You can just remember, for example, when the demon Kamsa heard the voice from the sky, right? Telling him that Devaki's 8th child will kill him. And then Nārada came to Kamsa and telling, well, you don't know exactly which child will kill you. So maybe it's best, you just kill all of them, one by one. Nārada was the one telling that to Kamsa. For me, that was fascination. First time when I heard some 91, 92 about Nārada told Kamsa that he should kill all children. It was so cruel. How he can do that? But later, when you learn the whole Lila, when you find out everything what's really happened, first of all, the Nārada, the reason why Nārada did this is that there were two reasons. First one is to celebrate Krishna's appearance, and second one is to expand the Kamsa's reputation as a demon. Because with such a cruel act, Kamsa was looking even more cruel and heartless, and like it was much stronger accusations against him. Of course, the children on the end came back, the Krishna saved them and everything, but the point is that Lila was starting with small little involvement of Narada Muni as well. Now another example of Narada involving Krishna Lila is when he had exchange with Rukmini, Queen Rukmini. In Gubahati there was a great kingdom, the big palace of Rukmini and Rukmi, brother and sister, and their father was there, and she's supposed to marry to Shishupala. And then Narada Muni came one time, visit Rukmini, and he started talking about Krishna. How sweet he is, how great looking he is, which kind of characteristic he has, how amazing is his pastimes, how he's so attractive. And Rukmini, even by not seeing Krishna, she started developing feelings for him. And how Narada was talking more, and he's best talker in the world, how he was talking more and more, she was more developing feelings. And on the end of that conversation, she forgot even the name Shishupala, what to speak about marriage or anything. She was just dreaming and meditating, I would love to marry Krishna. Oh, where is that Krishna? And what's happened, we know the history. Shishupala became very significant. He tried his best, but he failed. Krishna came, he took Rukmini, and he ran away with her. He stole her, basically. And even now, they're saying that Rukmini is forever in the spiritual kingdom, the wife of Lord Krishna. But everything started with Narada Muni. He is the one who put a little bit spice in the whole story. So Narada is there sometime to jump in and to do something just to boost the Lila, to speed up the Lila. So now there's some other aspects of Narada Muni I would like to discuss. First of all, regarding Narada Muni, we should not understand his previous lives. We need to understand his previous lives, means two lives at least. The Srimad Bhagavatam describes that Narada attained the audience of God, and he became renewed in the Vedic tradition, and the story began with the first life, very famous Narada Muni's life, is Uparbana. His name was Uparbana, and he was a Gandharva, very beautiful Gandharva, and he was the singer of heavenly planets. In all heavenly planets, he was very famous as a singer, as somebody who is spreading the glories of the Lord and another songs, sharing between others, usually during festivals, during some big occasions. And Upajbana's beautiful voice and handsome feature made him very attractive to women. And he became a playboy a little bit, losing his spiritual perspective and falling into materialistic life quite a lot in that particular life. Then once Uparbana attended a festival, and that festival was put by Prajapatis, residents of higher planets. They are actually responsible for populating the universe, and then while they were all performing Sankirtan, chanting the holy names, Uparbana started chanting and glorifying demigods. So he started, glorifying different demigods, and we know very well that Sankirtan means glorifying the Supreme Lord only, not the demigods, no other beings, but Lord himself. So what's happened, the devotees cursed Uparbana at that time. to be born in his next life as a Shudra, as a labor, devoid in the beauty. Fortunately, whenever saints curse you or give you blessing, is the same. Ultimately, it's always a blessing. So he was born as a son of maidservant, and she was very hard worker, but she was mostly working in some families of different devotees and serving different pilgrims when they come visit the village and they're going around. And since she was working very hard, Nārada Muni, he was a small boy at that time, he was actually around 5 years old, he was helping her all the time, serving those sages and serving all those who come to pilgrimage. Even when his mother has to go to work some other house, he was staying with them, you know, preparing for them, washing their clothes, cooking, and listening everything what they're saying. And year after year of great affection towards pilgrims, he was not like regular boy. He was very silent, and he was just absorbing all the time. He started developing a great devotion, and after some time, his mother passed away when he became older, when he became young man, and he became basically preacher himself. He was going preaching all the time, visiting diverse places, and in one time, what is very famous is that one day during Narada's meditation, the Lord appeared within his heart, and he was able to see the form of the God. Basically, the Krishna stand in front of him, and he was smiling, and Narada started crying, and he started having, you know, shaking and showing all different symptoms, which we show usually when we have the personal presence of the Lord in front of us. And then after a very short time, the Krishna just disappeared from his vision. He was just gone. And then Bhagavatam describes actually a lot Narada's grief condition, and tell that as much as he tried, and after that he was trying again and again and again, just one thing, to see the Lord again, to have his presence again. But he was failing again and again. And his realization is actually that God is not just working on our back call. We call Krishna, he appeared in front of us. This is not the system. The system is actually that we have to, with meditation and prayer, we have to convince Lord that he will come in front of us. As Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he mentioned that on the right way. He said, don't ask to see God, but rather act in such a way that God wants to see you. And this is what devotees, what Vaishnavas are doing. We are trying to act in such a way that in one moment Krishna wants to see us. And this is the highest of all blessings, is actually the personal appearance of the Lord, where we can give our prayers, offer prayers and everything else. So then Narada heard the Lord's voice telling him that it's not possible to see God if one is not completely pure. Krishna told him that, but he didn't show in front of him. And the Lord told Narada another thing. He had shown him form of the kindness and to increase his longing for him, basically. That was the reason. The Lord's excitement work, Narada started meditating on the form of the Lord more intensely every day. And the time came, after a long life, the time came that Narada was very old and he has to leave the planet. He has to leave his body, basically. And he told his disciple Vyasadeva, you know very well who is Vyasadeva, he was next to him when Narada was living in that incarnation. I met with that just as lighting and illumination occur simultaneously. So basically his transition after those last words was very, very seamless. And when material world was created again, Narada was born from the creator, Brahmā. Basically he was born as his son, as Brahma's son, from the Brahma's heart, right? And in this form, Narada has indeed reached perfection. And the Bhagavatam tells us that his birth was not forced, Most of the births, they're forced, but he was very, with full joy and happiness, he wanted to be born in the body that he got from the Lord Brahma, and because he knew that his body will not be different much than bodies of the Lord Krishna, and then he can do what he likes to do best, preaching and sharing the glories of the Lord through different universes. And this is in which form it's still he between us today even, and he's still sharing his great stories with everyone and sharing the glories of the holy name. Now, he is also famous as a perfect guru. The single-minded determination marks him as a perfect guru, and many great sages have taken the shelter at his feet. He had many disciples. He's having many disciples still. He is, for example, the spiritual master of Valmiki. Valmiki is author of Ramayana, the famous one. Then he's spiritual master of Prahlad Maharaj, of Dhruva Maharaj, the Prachetas, of Chitraketu, and many other prominent personalities in Vedic history. The most important for us, he's spiritual master of Vyasadeva, and often he's considered as the model guru, as an ideal, perfect guru. For this reason, Narada Muni is the guru of the gurus, they're saying. And also now we are going back to one statement that I make at the beginning, that he is a perfect brahmachari. Just because of that life that he has, his first life as a Gandharva, as a little bit of playboy. In this life he was very careful, and he wanted to perform brahmacharya in the perfect way, in the perfect sense. So basically he's completely in celibate, and he's wearing the brahmachari cloth all the time, and he's traveling around the universes. And the Linga Purana says that Krishna awarded Narada with a veena, his instrument. He got it actually from the Lord. Because the veena was direct gift from the Lord, it's considering non-different than him. So actually that's why many sages are saying that he never comes. Narada Muni, when he comes, he never comes alone, but always comes with the Lord himself together. And actually representation of that Lord is his veena. So when you see his veena, it's non-different than Krishna himself. And that's bringing a lot of joy in his heart, and that's why he's playing all the time, because through the sound of veena, Narada Muni actually hears the Lord's voice, and he's full of ecstasy and pleasure because of that. Because Narada Muni is a musician who traveled through the universe enlightening people with Krishna consciousness, it was logical that during Lila, which happened here, where we are today, in Mayapur and around the Chaitanya Lila 500 years ago, that he also come as somebody who loves music, who will host the big musical events, who will basically help and assist Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mission of spreading the holy name by maintaining the culture of kirtan. So basically that's the reason why he came in the form of Shiva's Thakur. So Narada Muni came in the form of Shiva's Thakur in the Chaitanya Lila. And you know, Shiva's Sangan is just a few kilometers away. And how amazing kirtans were happening there, how amazing devotees were staying day and night, performing different lilas with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we have so many pastimes happen in the house of Shiva's Thakur. And that was nobody else but Narada Muni himself. Now, there is one question I would like to ask you. I know that many devotees, they like to meditate about Vrindavan, they like to meditate about rasa dance, about different pastimes of the Lord with gopis. They would like to see that, they would like to be somewhere here to witness it. So is there some of you who would like to do that as well? Can you raise up your hands? Would you like to hear about it? Would you like to be witness? Would you like to? Yeah. Definitely we are not doing rasabasa. I will just tell you one story. Narada Muni, he was always having the great desire to to see some of the pastimes of the Lord and to be witness, just for a second, just for a moment. And according to Nārada Purana, this is 289 to 32, there are around 25 verses. And in Skanda Purana is explained also. There is 2, 6, 2 and 3. There are only 2 verses there. And also you can find in Padma Purana as well. Nārada, when he first heard the Lord Krishna had appeared in Vrindavan, he wandered Vrindavan's 12 forests looking for any sign of his beloved Lord. He could not find Krishna. He was going around, back and forth, one forest, second forest, 12 forests, coming back. He could not find the Lord. And he was wondering, where is the Lord? And then, with a great intensity, he ran to the secret forest, which Krishna would meet with the gopis, because he heard where they're going to meet. He was going there, waiting, nothing happened. He doesn't see anything. So who approached him was Vrinda Devi, a very prominent gopi of the Lord. Vrinda Devi approached to Narada Muni, and she was asking him, what you looking for? He said, I'm looking for Krishna and gopis, and he knew that Vrinda Devi is the one who is actually organizing all these meetings. She is the one telling, okay, tonight is this forest, Krishna is coming, such and such gopis will be there. She's the organizer, she's the manager. And he was very excited, okay, Vrinda Devi will tell me now everything. You know, great. And basically she appeared before Narada and told him that to be able to see such esoteric pastimes, he would have to adopt the mood of gopi. Basically, my dear Narada, you need to become a gopi. And he was, become a gopi? She said, yes. In this form, you cannot see anything. You need to become a gopi. And then you can see. I'll tell you where. And then he was very curious, how I can become a gopi? It's very hard for me. And she said, there is one great lake, one great pond. Please go there in such and such time, just before moon comes out, when sun sets down. The name is Kusum Sarovar. Go there, take a bath in particular way, she explained to him, and you'll become a gopi. He went there. He did basically as Vrinda Devi instructed, and when he came out of the water, he became gopi, named Naradi. It was close enough. So her name was Naradi. And in that form, he was able to see Vrindavan. He was going through 12 forests. He saw many gopis. He saw Krishna. He was even part of some lila, staying aside, just watching, you know. And then after that whole night of ecstasy, he approached again Vrinda Devi, and he was asking, okay, how I can go back into my Narada Muni appearance? And she said, it's okay. It's not that hard. And she said, now you have to go to another pond. Today, when you go to Vrindavan, that pond is famous by name of Narada Pond. You know, but that time it has a different name, Narada Kund, right? Narada Kund, it's very famous. And he went to Narada Kund, and again he has to perform the certain mantras, and he took a bath 3 times. He came out and he regained the original form that he had. So this pastimes is actually the ideal example that whoever goes to Vrindavan, it's very hard to expect that we're going to see everything. You know, it's why we cannot see, because we don't have forms to see. Either we get some special mercy for a moment somehow, or we need to look for some gopi to help us to achieve form that it will help us to be part. Otherwise, we can do one thing, we can only feel. Feeling is there. We can feel where we are and what is happening around, but to see, to be part of that, that's very, very high level. So Narada Purana is saying that lesson to be learned from this episode is that even a sage as great as Narada must meditate on Vrindavan in intense mood of a gopi to attain the highest level of prema, love for Krishna. Such meditation is possible for only the most accomplished devotees. So that's, otherwise it's very very hard. There is another thing I wanted to tell today, what is the real freedom. I mean, I'm a little bit scared, to be honest with you. I just came back recently from Europe. I went with family, we visit family, friends, and we spend 1.5 months there. It's amazing when you're here and then you would just leave for a short time, from time to time, go back into that world, from this world, how much you can see the change every time. How much people are going in illusion, deeper and deeper, more thick beliefs which are taking them far away from the Lord. So how this whole intensity of social medias, propaganda, wars and everything is creating their minds, they're becoming like robots without free will. Everybody's talking about freedom. Everybody believes they're free just if they have internet, if they have some good car, if they have some apartment with some features. But actually they're all slaves of material energy, completely unconscious of the real reality of this world and the purpose of this world. So, in the text 1.6.37, in Srimad Bhagavatam, I found very interesting. That verse was recently here, a few months ago, but I found some very interesting points that I would like to point. It's connected with Nārada Muni also. Verse is Shuta Uvacha Evam Sambhashya Bhagavan Nārada Vasa Vishutam Amatra Vinam Ranayan Jajayu Yaskrig Yadrichiko Munich. Translation: Shuta Goswami said, those addressing Vyasadeva, Srila Nārada Muni took leave of him, and vibrating on his Vina instrument, he left to wander at his free will. And then in the purport of that verse, Srila Prabhupada gave a PhD of what does it mean, a freedom, a free will, and how we all can become free if we follow a few simple steps. And I don't want to speculate, I would like to read that part because it really left a huge impression on me, and I would like to share it with you if you don't mind, of course. So every living being is anxious for full freedom because that is his transcendental nature. And this freedom is obtained only through the transcendental service of the Lord. Illusioned by the external energy, everyone thinks that he is free, but actually he is bound up by the laws of nature. A conditioned soul cannot freely move from one place to another, even on this earth, and what to speak on another planets. But a full-fledged free soul, like Nārada, always engaged in chanting the Lord's glory, is free to move not only on earth, but also in any part of the universe, as well as in any part of the spiritual sky. We can just imagine the extent and unlimitedness of his freedom, which is as good as the Supreme Lord. There is no reason or obligation for his traveling, and no one can stop him from his free movement. Similarly, the transcendental system of devotional service is also free. It may or may not develop in particular person even after he undergoes all the detailed formulas. Similarly, the association of devotees is also free. One may be fortunate to have it, or one may not have it even after thousands of endeavors. Therefore, in all spheres of devotional service, freedom is the main pivot. Without freedom, there is no execution of devotional service. The freedom surrendered to the Lord does not mean the devotee becomes dependent in every respect. To surrender unto the Lord through the transparent medium of the spiritual master is to attain complete freedom of life. And again, Srila Prabhupada mentioned the association of devotees. He mentioned also the transcendental system of devotional service. But the last line, to surrender unto the Lord through the transparent medium of spiritual master. Transparent medium of spiritual master means bona fide spiritual master. Means spiritual master who is not different than Nārada Muni himself. I'm talking about the message that he's sharing with his disciples. If you have the proper bona fide spiritual master who is actually a transparent medium representative of Nārada Muni, is to attain the complete freedom of life. So basically, instead of sometimes just wasting time talking about what is wrong, what is not auspicious. I think it's okay to discuss that like creative criticism, means positive criticism, if we want to improve. But a large majority of our life and our staying in the Holy Dham, we need to, anywhere basically, we need to spend in having the proper and right association with devotees, glorifying highlighted devotees, having association with spiritual master as much as we can, dikshas, shikshas, having association with Srila Prabhupada through his books, and basically, if we do it on the right way, without making offenses, what is guarantee for us that actually we're going to have a freedom to choose whether we want to give that extra effort and ultimately to go back to Godhead, to go back to the Lord, to the spiritual sky. That's freedom that we have, and that's freedom that is expecting us if we are taking this process seriously. And one of the ways is actually what we did today also, glorifying somebody who is great. I'm definitely not qualified to talk about Narada Muni. I didn't saw him today with us. Maybe he was here, but we are not on that level yet, but we should try again and again. We have to chant, we have to sincerely pray, we have to have association of great devotees, and ultimately we have to achieve the levels which will take us to deserve that Lord maybe will appear in front of us and ultimately to get the full benefit of this life. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for listening, class. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. We have 5 minutes still. If you have any question, any point to share with us, please. I'm not so well, I'm sick a little bit, so that's why I don't mind. I was a little bit shady mood, but somehow I managed, so that was good news. I thought I could not even come today. Thank you. Janmashtami Prabhu ki jai.
Prabhu, can you summarize how we can achieve that freedom, and also what is that freedom?
Yes. So, basically in the purport of text 1637, that's important, verse 1637, Srimad Bhagavatam, it said, there is no reason or obligation for his travelings, Narada Muni's travelings, and no one can stop him from his free movement. Similarly, the transcendental system of devotional service is also free. It may or may not develop a particular person even after he undergoes all the detailed formulas. Similarly, the association of devotees is also free. One may be fortunate to have it, or one may not have it even after thousands of endeavors, but it's free. Therefore, in all spheres of devotional service, freedom is main pivot. Without freedom, there is no execution of devotional service. The freedom surrender to the Lord does not mean the devotee becomes dependent in every respect. To surrender under the Lord through the transparent medium of the spiritual master is actually to attain completely freedom of life. So the main point is that we have to surrender through the mercy of spiritual master, of the transparent spiritual master. And the freedom means that basically just by choice, just by free will, we can choose whether to follow the path of devotional service or to choose something else. This is basically only freedom that Srila Prabhupada mentioned here. He said that somebody can follow the process, but he may not achieve perfection. Or somebody can also follow, but he can achieve perfection. And that's our free will actually, which way we're going to follow the process. If we follow process for the satisfaction of spiritual master, we will achieve perfection. If we follow the process for some other reasons, and we have free will to do that, we will also achieve what is our ultimate goal, but that's not a spiritual perfection. So this is the freedom.
So we become free from the entanglement of the illusory energy. That's one sense what the freedom means. But then also we have the free will that
Yes.
becomes awakened through the process of devotional service, so that we can actually make choices rather than just being forced. Like you were mentioning, how people in, when you went to Europe, they didn't have
Yes.
any choice. They think they're free,
Yes.
but they're actually
They're not
completely
free
under
at
the
all.
control. Of the
Basically,
illusory
Srila Prabhupada saying in first part, he mentioned how everybody is suffering. They believe they're free, but they're not free at all. They believe that they can do whatever they like, but they're completely dependent. Every their move is programmed already. And only freedom that we have is that we choose, do we want to be spiritual or material? Do we want to try to achieve perfection, or we want to stay in illusion of material energy completely? This is only freedom. And if somebody chooses to go in the road towards the spiritual enlightenment, towards that kind of freedom, that's the only freedom that we can feel. That's the closest to freedom we can feel. So basically, we can be dependent either on the Lord Himself or on His external material energy. This is only our choice. And where we are under the boundaries of material energy, we are not talking about freedom. Actually, in many places, it's mentioned that it's like a prison, that we are actually in prison in material world. We feel like we are free, but we are not free. If we try to jump, we come back. They call it gravitation, the force of gravity. But prisoners, they also have these heavy chains which holding them. You try to go somewhere, it's bouncing you back. So we are all, in the place where actually we have to learn something. We have to grow and we have to change the nature instead of trying to enjoy again and again. That's why for me, the heart is full of sorrow when I see sometimes devotees, even after 30, 40 years of Krishna consciousness, they still don't feel the taste. They don't see improvement. Because sometimes we believe we change recipe just a little bit. We don't follow certain part of the full recipe, and we don't see the full benefit of the whole process. If we want to see the benefit of the process, we need to follow everything, all together. That means if we promise our spiritual master to chant 60 rounds, we have to do so. If we promise that we will follow regulative principles, it's not like, okay, I'm 30 years devoted, it's okay if I break a little bit here and there. It's okay if I have another woman. It's okay if I have another this or that. I'm sorry, but, those 30 years, that doesn't guarantee to us that we did enough to start doing nonsense. Actually, we have proofs in Bhagavatam, many proofs that even lives of devotional service, somebody can slip in a second, and again he has to be born, and again he has to go through the chains of material nature. So, yes, the freedom, ultimate freedom, is if we choose the spiritual path. And we become free basically only once we go out of this world. I don't think we can have absolute freedom while we are still here. But we can go towards freedom. That's a good thing.
But Prabhupada had complete freedom, I think.
Sorry?
Prabhupada was here in this material world and
yes.
experienced freedom. So
Yes.
that level is possible if we are super sincere.
Nārada Muni is still in material world and he's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the level of intensity, I'm rereading the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita after many years. Oh man, it's like amazing.
Yes.
How surrendered he was in every single situation.
Yes?
From the time he met his guru,
Yes.
that first experience, and then his whole life was just complete dedication. No nonsense whatsoever. And always so loving and always dedicated to that mission.
Yes.
Of awakening Krishna consciousness in everyone, every town and village.
Srila Prabhupada was Srila Prabhupada. He was sent Pati Bhakta. He was somebody who was sent actually here to achieve a certain mission for the Lord. Same like Nārada Muni. He has a mission. And once we come to the level, I notice in my life, when I have mission, when I have goal, then life is much easier. Right. Then we feel connected with the spiritual master and with the chain, and it's much easier to cruise through the spiritual life. Even the taste for chanting, taste for kirtan, it's much higher than when we are disconnected from the service of the Lord.
Yeah. That's when that freedom awakens and we dedicate our lives to the mission.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. We are Sankirtan movement. Sankirtan means doing something great for the Lord, for the God. Yes.
Yeah.
Even we saw in previous life of Nārada Muni, he tried during Sankirtan to glorify demigods, and he got cursed because of that. So we have to be a little bit careful. We are members of the highest of the high movements of the planet Earth in a moment, and we got that key that we can actually really help other people. So instead of wasting time thinking whether we should surrender or not, I think we should just put our sleeves on and go outside and start preaching, and then try to help all others who didn't get that lucky like we did, to get this special ticket. That's a Sankirtan. Yeah. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Dandavats.
गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा